Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today, and today I'm going to be making my NBA Western Conference Finals preview and predictions. It's going to be an interesting Western Conference Finals that we will see between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder. This is going to be the first Western Conference Finals that is not in California or Texas, which is nuts. But we will. It's the first conference finals that's not in Texas or California since 1996. Is what I meant to say. But Minnesota in the conference finals back-to-back years. OKC back in the conference finals for the first time since the 2015-16 season against the Warriors, where we saw the Thunder blow a 3-1 lead. Now, let's get into what you should expect for this series. Injuries-wise, no injuries for either teams. That's great. Two healthy teams. Hopefully it stays that way all series. Now, starting lineups. Neither one of these starting lines have changed at all in the postseason. Minnesota, it's Anthony Edwards, Mike Conley, with Jaden McDaniels and Rudy Gobert and Julius Randle. And for OKC, it's been Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort, J-Dub, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Chet Holmgren. Now, I kind of want to get into predictions and what I think is going to happen in this series. Now, here's what I think needs to happen in this series. Now, for Minnesota, I think this is kind of obvious. You've got to try to stop Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think some of the Nuggets' best games in that series against the Thunder are games where the Nuggets are maintaining Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, they won Game 3. Shai didn't really have a good game. Game 1, the Nuggets won, and Shai did play pretty good. But you look at the couple of wins that, a couple of games where you limit Shai. It was game 3 and game 4. I know they lost game 4, but they really were able to. The Nuggets were really able to stop Shai and make sure he didn't put a lot of damage on the board, and that's something I would say you want to do in this series as well if you're Minnesota. But it's going to be hard to do that with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with how good he's been this year, and that will be the challenge. And I don't know what else you can do. Look, if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves now, here's the good thing. You've got a lot of size to deal with their double big, their double big lineup. The Thunder have a lot of size. They have Chet and Hartenstein, 2 7-foot big men in the same lineup. They've got Jalen Williams, who plays a little bit, minutes off the bench, who's also really tall for a big man off the bench. And they've got a lot of size, and that's an advantage for OKC. Now, here's something that Minnesota has a little bit better that Denver doesn't, and that's size. Sure, they had MPJ and Aaron Gordon next to Jokic, but here's what Minnesota has to deal with OKC's size. You've got Rudy Gobert, 7 foot. You got Naz Reid, who's 7 foot. You have Julius Randle and Jaden McDaniels, who are both 6'9". So you've got good guys to deal with Oklahoma City's really good size. Now, I'm going to kind of go over, since we're previewing this series, I'm going to kind of go over where you can watch all these games. All these games are on ABC. Game 1 is tonight, obviously, at 7:30. All these games are on at 7. Well, all of them except Game 7, if necessary, is on at 7 o'clock. All of them, the first 6 games of this series, Game 5, Game 6, if necessary, are 7:30. Then a potential Game 7 at 7 o'clock. But also, I do want to mention, we haven't seen a Game 7 in the Western Conference Finals in 7 years. The last time we saw it was the Rockets and the Warriors. So does that change this year? I don't know. But Game 1 is 7:30 today. Thursday is Game 2, 7:30. Saturday is Game 3 in Minnesota, May 24th. Monday, May 26th, is Game 4 against OKC, of course. And then Game 5 goes back to OKC Wednesday, May 28th. And then Friday is May 30th, Game 6 potentially. And then Game 7, if Game 7 is necessary, would be the first game of the season in June, because June 1st, Sunday, would be Game 7. We'll see if that is necessary, though. I'm going to go over predictions now. In this series, I'm going with Oklahoma City Thunder winning Game 1 tonight. At home, they've got the advantage. I think the team that, we saw this in the first round, the team that had more rest usually came out more rusty. You saw that in the first round with, the pace you had in the first round, the teams that had more rest all lost. The Cavs, who had swept the Heat, and the Pacers series was a little bit longer than the Cavs. Pacers won game one. Celtics and Knicks. The Celtics had some more time off than the Knicks did, with the Knicks series being a 6-game series against the Pistons, and the Celtics taking down the Magic in 5 games. The Celtics were rusty. The Knicks, sure had good rest, but the Celtics had more rest, and that hurt them. The Knicks won. You saw in that same second round with the Thunder and the Nuggets, the Thunder had a lot of time off, sweeping the Grizzlies. The Timberwolves did beat the Lakers in 5, but their series. Meanwhile, the Nuggets series was a 7-game series, and against the Clippers, and they had a lot less time off, and they came out winning that game against the Thunder. And then the Timberwolves Warriors. The Timberwolves had a 5-game series against the Lakers, and the Warriors had a 7-game series against the Rockets. They came into that series having less time off. All the teams that had less time off in the second round were benefited off that. And here, what's the situation here? OKC, their series ended on Sunday, beating the Nuggets. Now you've got, it's Tuesday, game 1, and then in the Minnesota series, their series ended like Thursday, something like that. It was Thursday, I believe. Their series ended. So Minnesota has more rest. Sometimes that's been a good thing, but last round it proved that the team with more rest hurt. So I'm going Oklahoma City winning game 1. Not only that, but the OKC's back at you're still home, and your crowd is unbelievable there. Now, so I got OKC winning game 1, but I got Minnesota winning game 2. Game 3, this is where I have things getting interesting. Game 3, I got Minnesota winning game 3 and winning back-to-back games. And then you see, 2-1 lead. This would be back-to-back series for OKC being down 2-1. I've got OKC with pressure, the back on the wall, being pressured. I've got OKC winning game 4 to tie the series up at 2 apiece. I've got OKC winning game 5. And here would be the question: does OKC seal the deal in game 6 to go to the go back to the NBA Finals for the first time in over a decade? Or do we see a game 7 in the conference finals for the first time in 7 years? I'm going with Minnesota winning game 6 to send it to game 7. And game 7, I'm going with the Thunder. Me personally, I want the Minnesota Timberwolves to win. I want to see Anthony Edwards in the finals, and more importantly, I want to see Knicks versus Timberwolves, because I like that matchup with the fact that those two teams made a trade in the offseason, and it was a huge trade, and then you could see potentially both of those teams in the NBA Finals. I think, to me, the best matchup would be Minnesota versus New York, of Anthony Edwards versus Jalen Brunson, 2 stars, but then the whole fact of the Julius Randle, Karl Anthony Towns thing, Dante DiVincenzo as well, where though you saw that trade happen, and then those guys are going up against their former teams in the NBA Finals. That is what I would think would be really interesting. And then you can also, if you want to keep it going, Tom Thibodeau in the NBA Finals coaching against the former team he used to coach for. That would be another thing as well with it. So I'd like to see Minnesota versus New York, but I think it will be New York versus OKC, which would be an interesting matchup. Let me know your thoughts on the series between the Thunder and the Timberwolves. Give me your predictions in the comment section, and peace out.